Beneath the surface of our day-to-day existence, there lies a story so compelling that it challenges the very boundaries of what we accept as reality. This is the domain of the Men in Black, entities that exist at the crossroads of myth and the eerily tangible, casting long shadows over our understanding of the unknown. These mysterious figures, often perceived as dark agents or guardians of cosmic secrets, emerge silently in the aftermath of UFO sightings and encounters with phenomena that defy explanation. Their appearances are marked by an unsettling aura of intimidation and the murmuring of secrets that humanity might not be ready to hear. Our exploration takes us from the tranquil shores of Puget Sound to the unsettling quiet of Point Pleasant, revealing first-hand accounts of encounters with these elusive figures. As we navigate the origins of the Men in Black legend, tracing its roots back to the 1940s and following its evolution into the present day, a narrative of intrigue and apprehension emerges. Yet, this journey is more than just a collection of eerie tales. It invites us to delve into the deeper enigma surrounding the Men in Black. It challenges us to consider theories that stretch the limits of our understanding, from interdimensional travelers to manifestations of collective thought, and to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of our perception. Prepare to embark on a narrative that will linger with you, prompting you to question the fabric of your own reality. This exploration into the Men in Black phenomenon is not just an inquiry into the unknown, but a voyage that might just redefine your understanding of what is possible. Step into this exploration with an open mind, but be prepared. The revelations we uncover may forever change how you view the world around you. Welcome to the enigmatic and shadowed world of the Men in Black. On a day that dawned no different from any other in the summer of 1947, Harold Dahl set out into the Puget Sound, a place where the boundary between the earth and the sea blurred into a tranquil blue. Dahl, a man whose life rhythms were dictated by the ebb and flow of these waters, expected nothing more than the usual haul. The mundanity of his existence, characterized by the repetitive task of patrol and the quiet solitude of the sea, was a comfort and a curse. Yet on this day, the fabric of his reality was poised to tear open, revealing a glimpse into the unfathomable. With his son by his side, Dahl navigated the familiar waters under the wide expanse of the Pacific Northwest sky. The salt-laden air was a balm, and the gentle rocking of the boat a steady constant in the world he knew well. But as the morning gave way to noon, a disturbance shattered the calm. From the void above, an apparition emerged. 6 objects, defying the laws of physics and nature, hung suspended as if the sky itself had opened to reveal its secrets. These were not the planes Dahl was accustomed to seeing, nor were they natural phenomena he could rationalize. They were otherworldly, metallic vessels that hovered with an ominous intent, casting long shadows over the waters below. Dahl and his son, caught in the spectacle, found themselves ensnared by a reality they could not have imagined. The crafts moved with a purpose, their presence an unsettling reminder of how little mankind truly understood about the universe. As Dahl watched, transfixed, one of the vessels appeared to malfunction. It emitted a sound, a distressing metallic groan that echoed across the sound, heralding a calamity. With a suddenness that stole the breath from Dahl's lungs, the craft began to expel a shower of what appeared to be molten metal, a metallic rain that hissed and steamed as it met the cool waters below. The serenity of the Puget Sound was transformed in that moment into a scene from a nightmare. The water around Dahl's boat roiled and frothed as the fragments fell, a metallic storm unleashed from the heavens. Fear, primal and raw, gripped him as he realized the danger they were in, a danger not of this world. This incident, which would come to be known as the Maury Island Mystery, marked the beginning of a series of events that would thrust Harold Dahl into the center of a maelstrom of secrecy, conspiracy, and government intrigue. In the shadow-soaked days that followed his uncanny encounter on the tranquil waters of Puget Sound, Harold Dahl found himself ensnared in a dense fog of uncertainty. His mind, a tumultuous sea, churned endlessly with the memories of what he had witnessed. Images of the otherworldly vessels that had pierced the veil of his once unremarkable existence. A pall of foreboding clung to him, a constant companion that whispered of unseen dangers lurking just beyond the periphery of his reality. It was during one particularly somber twilight, as the last rays of sunlight surrendered to the encroaching darkness, that an ominous knock shattered the silence of Dahl's modest home. His heart, a prisoner to the rhythm of fear, pounded against his chest as he approached the door, each step heavy with dread. With hands that betrayed his inner turmoil, Dahl opened the door to reveal three silhouettes, their features swallowed by the darkness of the night. Dressed in black suits that seemed to drink in the dim light of his porch, they stood as specters of doom, their very presence a cold wind that chilled him to his core. The eyes of these figures, hidden beneath the shadow of their hats, fixed upon Dahl with an intensity that seemed to reach into the depths of his soul. Then, with a voice that resonated with the timbre of nightmares, one of them spoke a dire warning.
"We know what you saw. We are aware of the incident with the UFOs. Silence will be your salvation. To speak of it will invite consequences beyond your comprehension."
The weight of their words hung in the air, a tangible darkness that threatened to suffocate him. Before Dahl could muster the courage to respond, the men in black receded into the night, their departure as enigmatic as their arrival. Left alone in the enveloping darkness, Dahl was struck by a profound realization. The fabric of his life had been irrevocably torn asunder. The encounter had not just altered his perception of the world, it had redrawn the boundaries of his reality, casting him into a mire of doubt and fear from which there seemed no escape. In the wake of their visit, Dahl's existence became a labyrinth of shadows, each turn revealing further depths of uncertainty. The men in black, with their cryptic warning, had not merely threatened him. They had marked the beginning of an odyssey into the unknown, a journey that would challenge the very essence of his being. Dahl knew, with a clarity that bordered on the supernatural, that the course of his fate had been changed forever. The encounter had thrust him into a realm where the fantastical and the terrifying were inextricably intertwined, a world where silence was the price of survival, and the truth a beacon that could only lead to darkness. Following the encounter with the mysterious visitors, Harold Dahl found himself thrust into a reality stranger than anything he could have imagined. The aftermath of that fateful day left an indelible mark not just on him, but on his entire family. Dahl's mind swirled with the unsettling images of the UFOs hovering ominously above the waters, the haunting figures of the men in black, and the cryptic warnings they delivered. Sleep became an elusive commodity, his nights haunted by the echoes of their chilling visit. The once serene Puget Sound now held dark secrets that seemed to seep into every corner of Dahl's existence. Reluctant to share his harrowing experience, Dahl grappled with the tormenting decision of whether to come forward with his story or bury it deep within the recesses of his mind. Fear gnawed at him, not just for his own safety, but for the safety of his loved ones. What if the mysterious visitors returned, their threats becoming a terrifying reality? Despite his initial reluctance to share his experience, Dahl ultimately found himself compelled to reveal the strange events that had unfolded before him. He made the fateful decision to confide in Fred Chrisman, his supervisor. This decision set off a chain reaction that would see Dahl's story catapulted from a private encounter to a national enigma. Chrisman, intrigued by Dahl's account, acted as the conduit through which the story reached the ears of US Army's Air Force intelligence in Tacoma. The detailed report penned by Dahl, which spoke of 6 unidentified flying objects and the mysterious shower of white metal, sparked an investigation that would draw the gaze of the nation to the small community of Puget Sound. The media frenzy that ensued placed Harold Dahl at the center of a whirlwind of speculation, scrutiny, and disbelief. His story, dismissed by some as fabrication and embraced by others as evidence of extraterrestrial visitation, became a touchstone for the burgeoning field of ufology. Yet, the encounter with the men in black stood apart, imbuing Dahl's tale with a layer of intrigue and fear that resonated deeply with those who heard it. Dahl's reluctant step into the limelight brought with it not just fame, but a burden that weighed heavily on him and his family. The skepticism and the spotlight disrupted their lives, casting them into a realm of uncertainty and unease. Yet, amidst the tumult, Dahl's story ignited a spark of curiosity and fear that would burn long after his name faded from the headlines. The legacy of Harold Dahl's encounter on Puget Sound extends far beyond the immediate impact of his story. It heralded the entrance of the Men in Black into the lexicon of the paranormal, a phenomenon that would captivate and terrify in equal measure. Dahl's experience became a cornerstone of UFO mythology, a tale that spoke to the deep-seated human fear of the unknown and the entities that may lurk just beyond our sight. As the years rolled on, the mystery of the Maury Island incident and the enigmatic figures that emerged from its telling continued to fascinate and puzzle. Harold Dahl, once a man of simple pleasures and routines, had unwittingly opened a door to a world where the line between reality and fantasy was irrevocably blurred. His story, and the shadowy figures that it introduced, would forever mark a turning point in the study of the unexplained, a reminder of the mysteries that lie in wait in the dark corners of our world. In the quiet streets of Bridgeport, Connecticut, amidst the whispering shadows of the night, there lived a man whose curiosity knew no bounds. His name was Albert Bender, a solitary figure with a mind as vast and mysterious as the cosmos itself. By day, Bender toiled away in the archives of the local library, cataloguing the dusty relics of bygone eras. But by night, his true passion came alive, a passion for the occult and the supernatural, for the unexplained and the unknowable. It was this insatiable thirst for knowledge that led Bender down a path few dared to tread. In the early 1950s, as reports of unidentified flying objects began to captivate the public imagination, Bender found himself drawn to the mystery like a moth to a flame. Sensing an opportunity to delve deeper into the unknown, he founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau, a grassroots organization dedicated to investigating reports of UFO sightings and encounters. Armed with little more than a typewriter and a stack of newsletters, Bender set about documenting the strange and unexplained phenomena that seemed to be sweeping the globe. His early research was characterized by a genuine sense of curiosity and wonder, as he sought to uncover the truth behind the enigmatic sightings that had captured the public's imagination. But as Bender delved deeper into the world of ufology, he soon found himself confronting mysteries far stranger than he could have ever imagined. Reports of strange lights in the sky and encounters with otherworldly beings flooded his desk, each one more bizarre than the last. And amidst the chaos and confusion, Bender's fascination with the unknown only grew stronger, fueling his determination to uncover the truth at any cost. As he peeled back the layers of secrecy and deception surrounding the UFO phenomenon, he found himself drawn ever deeper into a web of intrigue and conspiracy that threatened to consume him whole. But no matter the dangers that lay ahead, Bender remained undeterred in his quest for knowledge, driven by a burning desire to unlock the mysteries of the universe and reveal the truth that lay hidden at its core. In the sweltering heat of the summer of 1952, nestled within the confines of his cluttered Bridgeport, Connecticut apartment, Albert Bender stood on the precipice of a discovery that would forever alter the trajectory of his life. Surrounded by walls lined with books whose pages whispered of ancient rites, forgotten magics, and the cryptic lore of civilizations long vanished, Bender found himself ensnared by a mystery that reached beyond the stars. It was here, amidst the dust motes dancing in the slanting light, that Bender claimed to have unearthed a truth so profound its implications stretched into the very fabric of existence. According to Bender, his breakthrough came not through telescopes or radar, but through the esoteric symbols and arcane texts that had consumed his nights. These works, heavy with the scent of old paper and mystery, purportedly contained the lexicon of a higher intelligence, a language etched in the cosmos itself. Bender posited that the UFO phenomena, so fervently debated across the Cold War skies of America, were not mere vessels of metal and light, but the bearers of a message from a consciousness beyond our mundane realities. In his fervor, Bender interpreted the sightings and encounters reported with increasing frequency across the globe as dialogues with the divine, or perhaps the diabolical. The symbols associated with these visitations, he argued, were keys to unlocking a dialogue with this otherworldly intelligence. Yet, as with all things that brush against the infinite, the truth of Bender's revelation remained veiled in layers of obscurity and mystique. His pronouncements, delivered with the conviction of the converted, were riddles wrapped in the enigmas of the universe. Driven by an obsession that bordered on possession, Bender dedicated himself to the task of decoding the cosmic missive he believed was hidden within the UFO phenomena. Each day bled into the next, marked only by the relentless pursuit of understanding, as Bender sought to pierce the veil that separated man from the mysteries of the cosmos. Yet, as his journey delved deeper into the shadowy realms between the known and the unknowable, Bender found himself walking a tightrope over an abyss. The world around him, once as familiar as the back of his hand, began to take on an otherworldly hue, as if reality itself had begun to warp under the weight of his discoveries. The line between reality and imagination began to blur, leaving him grappling with questions that defied easy answers. In a cramped, shadowy room piled with papers and books, a cartographer's map of the uncharted, Albert Bender hunched over his desk like a man trying to solve a puzzle without all the pieces. The only light was a desk lamp that seemed to struggle against the darkness, making the shadows in the corners look deeper and more alive than they had any right to be. It was late, so late it was almost early again, when the silence was shattered by a knock. Bender's heart kicked against his chest as he approached the door, a dread curling in his gut that felt like cold fingers. He paused, hand hovering over the knob, the night on the other side of the door suddenly filled with potential horrors. When he finally opened it, he was met with the sight of 3 figures dressed in black, as if the night had given form to some of its darker pieces. Clad in sleek black suits that seemed to absorb the feeble light, the visitors exuded an aura of menace that sent a shiver down Bender's spine. Their eyes, hidden beneath the brim of their hats, bore into him with an intensity that defied explanation. What followed was a series of unsettling encounters, each one more chilling than the last. In his accounts, Bender described the men in black as possessing an otherworldly demeanor that chilled him to the core. They were described as having a pallid complexion, with gaunt features that seemed almost spectral in the dim light of his office. Their eyes, hidden beneath the brims of their hats, were said to gleam with an unnatural intensity, boring into Bender with an unsettling gaze that seemed to penetrate to the very core of his being. During their visits, Bender noted several peculiar behaviors exhibited by the men in black that defied explanation. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices carrying an air of authority and menace that chilled him to the bone. Their movements were precise and deliberate, as if every action had been meticulously planned in advance. At times, Bender claimed to have experienced strange sensations in their presence, feelings of disorientation, nausea, and an overwhelming sense of dread that seemed to suffuse the room like a thick fog. Despite their sinister appearance and behavior, Bender was unable to discern the true nature of the men in black or their motivations. In his writings, he described them as enigmatic figures whose origins and intentions remained shrouded in mystery. Were they government agents, alien enforcers, or something altogether more sinister? Bender could not say for certain, but their ominous warnings and veiled threats left no doubt in his mind that they were not to be trifled with. Despite his growing paranoia, Bender pressed on with his work, determined to uncover the truth at any cost. But as the visits continued, Bender found himself consumed by an ever-increasing sense of dread and paranoia. The final visit of these shadow figures proved to be the tipping point, the straw that broke the camel's back. During this fateful encounter, the men in black delivered a stark ultimatum to Bender, their words laced with a palpable sense of malice and menace. They made it abundantly clear that if Bender continued his investigations into the UFO phenomenon, there would be dire consequences. Their threats were veiled, yet unmistakably ominous, leaving Bender with no illusions about the dangers that lay ahead if he chose to defy them. Previous encounters had left Bender unsettled and disturbed, but this final visit struck fear into his heart like never before. The sense of impending danger hung heavy in the air, casting a shadow over Bender's once cherished pursuit of truth and knowledge. For Bender, the ultimatum delivered by the men in black represented a stark choice between his passion for unraveling the mysteries of the universe and the safety of himself and those he cared about. It was a decision he did not take lightly, weighing the risks and consequences of defying the ominous warnings of these shadowy figures. In the end, faced with the very real threat of harm and reprisal, Bender made the difficult decision to heed the warnings of the men in black. With a heavy heart and a trembling hand, Bender closed the doors of the International Flying Saucer Bureau, effectively bringing his research to a grinding halt. It was a move born out of fear and desperation, a last-ditch effort to escape the clutches of the unknown. It felt like closing the door on a part of himself, like turning his back on a road not taken. But some nights, when the dark felt alive and the wind whispered just right, Bender wondered if he'd really had a choice at all. The men in black faded back into whatever shadowy corner of reality they'd come from, but the imprint they left on Bender's life was indelible. They were a story he'd never fully tell, a warning he'd always remember. And as much as he tried to go back to the life he had before, Bender knew some doors, once opened, can never be fully closed again. Albert Bender's exploration of the UFO phenomenon was uniquely influenced by his profound interest in esoteric knowledge and occult traditions. Delving into ancient texts and mystical teachings, Bender sought to interpret the cryptic messages and symbols associated with UFO sightings through the lens of esotericism. This approach led him to draw parallels between the enigmatic encounters with the men in black and the arcane wisdom preserved in esoteric literature. By intertwining his research into UFO phenomena with esoteric studies, Bender introduced a novel perspective that blurred the boundaries between the mundane and the mystical. He viewed the men in black not merely as physical entities, but as manifestations of archetypal forces that transcended conventional understanding. This interpretation was informed by his belief in the interconnectedness of cosmic phenomena and the hidden dimensions of reality. Bender's fascination with the occult imbued his analysis of the UFO phenomenon with a sense of mysticism and intrigue. He saw echoes of ancient myths and legends in his encounters with the men in black, suggesting that these entities were part of a larger cosmic narrative woven with threads of mystery and symbolism. However, while Bender's esoteric approach provided him with a unique framework for interpreting his experiences, it also contributed to the ambiguity surrounding his claims. Critics questioned the validity of his conclusions, citing the subjective nature of esoteric interpretation and the lack of empirical evidence to support his theories. Nevertheless, Bender's integration of esoteric knowledge into the study of UFO phenomena remains a compelling aspect of his legacy. His exploration of the occult opened new avenues of inquiry and sparked discussions about the intersection of spirituality, mysticism, and the unexplained. While his conclusions may remain controversial, his contributions to the field of ufology continue to provoke thought and inspire further exploration into the mysteries of the cosmos. Albert Bender's pivotal role in the history of ufology cannot be overstated, particularly concerning his encounters with the enigmatic men in black. In the early 1950s, Bender's accounts marked the first notable instances of alleged encounters with these mysterious figures. thereby laying the foundation for what would become a pervasive and enduring aspect of UFO lore. His experiences, recounted through his writings and public appearances, served as a catalyst for widespread interest in the Men in Black phenomenon, captivating the imaginations of enthusiasts and skeptics alike. At the time of Bender's revelations, the concept of the Men in Black was virtually unknown to the broader public. Bender's accounts provided a compelling narrative that resonated deeply with individuals grappling with the burgeoning UFO phenomenon of the era. His descriptions of shadowy figures appearing unannounced, delivering cryptic messages and ominous warnings, captured the zeitgeist of the 1950s, a period marked by Cold War anxieties and a burgeoning fascination with the unknown. Bender's encounters with the Men in Black represented a significant departure from conventional understandings of UFO sightings, introducing elements of mystery, intrigue, and even menace into the discourse surrounding extraterrestrial phenomena. His accounts served as a catalyst for the development of what would later become known as the Men in Black mythology, a complex and multifaceted body of lore that continues to captivate audiences to this day. From Bender's initial revelations emerged a rich tapestry of stories, anecdotes, and interpretations, each contributing to the evolving mythology surrounding the Men in Black. Over time, these narratives have been shaped and reshaped by various cultural, social, and technological forces, reflecting broader shifts in society's attitudes towards the unknown and the supernatural. In many ways, Bender's encounters with the Men in Black represent a microcosm of broader societal anxieties and uncertainties prevalent during the Cold War era. The specter of government surveillance, the fear of communist infiltration, and the mysteries of the cosmos all converged in Bender's narratives, lending them a potent sense of relevance and resonance. As such, Bender's accounts of the Men in Black serve not only as historical curiosities, but also as windows into the collective psyche of an era defined by its preoccupation with secrecy, surveillance, and the unexplained. They remind us that the quest for truth is often fraught with ambiguity and uncertainty, inviting us to explore the mysteries that lie beyond the boundaries of our understanding. As Albert Bender's accounts of encounters with the Men in Black began to permeate the public consciousness in the 1950s, they ignited a flurry of speculation within the burgeoning UFO community. In the wake of Bender's revelations, two primary theories emerged to explain the mysterious figures who had allegedly sought to silence him. The first theory posited that the Men in Black were operatives of governmental agencies, operating clandestinely to suppress information related to UFO sightings and extraterrestrial encounters. This view gained traction due to the covert nature of the Men in Black's appearances and their apparent access to classified information. Many within the UFO community believed that these shadowy figures were tasked with maintaining government secrecy and controlling the narrative surrounding UFO phenomena. Conversely, an alternative hypothesis suggested that the Men in Black might have extraterrestrial origins, acting as enforcers dispatched by alien civilizations to monitor human interactions with UFOs. This perspective drew on the otherworldly appearance and behavior of the Men in Black, as well as their purported ability to intimidate witnesses with their supernatural abilities. Some speculated that the Men in Black themselves could be humanoid aliens, disguised as government agents to conceal their true identity and purpose. Amidst the debates and conjectures surrounding the Men in Black phenomenon, one thing remained clear. The 1950s marked the emergence of a new and intriguing chapter in the study of UFOs. Bender's accounts served as a catalyst for exploration and speculation, inviting enthusiasts and researchers alike to ponder the nature and significance of these mysterious encounters. As the decade unfolded, the Men in Black would become enshrined in UFO lore, their shadowy presence casting a long and enduring shadow over the landscape of ufology. As the 1950s gave way to the late 1960s, the landscape of UFO activity underwent a subtle yet palpable shift. Against the backdrop of a world in flux, with social and political upheavals reshaping the fabric of society, the allure of the unknown held an ever-increasing fascination for many. It was during this era of heightened curiosity and exploration that two influential figures emerged onto the ufological stage: Gray Barker and John Keel. Gray Barker, a writer and researcher known for his investigations into paranormal phenomena, became a central figure in the study of UFOs. His seminal work, They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers, delved into the mysteries surrounding the Men in Black, drawing upon Albert Bender's accounts and expanding upon the enigmatic lore surrounding these shadowy figures. Through Barker's writings, the legend of the Men in Black continued to captivate the public imagination, fueling speculation and intrigue. Meanwhile, John Keel, a journalist and ufologist, embarked on his own quest to unravel the mysteries of the unexplained. Keel's investigations took him deep into the heart of the paranormal, where he encountered a myriad of strange phenomena that defied conventional explanation. His experiences would ultimately lead him to the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where he would confront one of the most baffling and unsettling mysteries of his career. Against this backdrop of burgeoning interest and intrigue, the stage was set for the unfolding mysteries in Point Pleasant. As the veil between the seen and the unseen grew increasingly thin, a series of inexplicable events would soon captivate the world, forever altering the course of ufology and leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. Transitioning from the shadowy figures that haunted Albert Bender's life, we enter a new chapter in the enigma that surrounds the Men in Black, a chapter that unfolds in the seemingly tranquil town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It's here, amidst the quiet streets and the whispering winds of the Ohio River, that a new mystery emerges, one that would intertwine the fate of a town with the legend of a creature known as the Mothman. In the fall of 1966, Point Pleasant became the epicenter of an eerie phenomenon. It began on a chilly November evening when two young couples driving near the old TNT area, a wartime munitions plant, encountered something beyond the realm of their understanding. What they saw that night would haunt them for the rest of their lives. A figure with glowing red eyes and wings that spanned the width of their car emerged from the darkness, pursuing them at speeds exceeding their own. This entity, which would come to be known as the Mothman, was described as a large, winged humanoid, its eyes glowing like bicycle reflectors caught in the beam of a headlight. The accounts of the Mothman didn't stop there. Over the next year, Point Pleasant was besieged by over 100 sightings of this mysterious creature. Each account added to the lore, describing it as a silent, flying figure whose presence was often accompanied by a sense of overwhelming dread. Witnesses reported a creature of considerable size, capable of incredible speeds, and with an eerie ability to ascend straight up into the night sky like a helicopter. It was sighted in remote areas, near the TNT plant, and even peering into the windows of homes, leaving no corner of Point Pleasant untouched by its shadow. The atmosphere in the town grew thick with fear. A palpable tension settled over Point Pleasant as whispers of the Mothman wove their way into the fabric of daily life. The creature was more than just a figure of local folklore. It became a symbol of the unknown, a physical manifestation of the high strangeness that seemed to loom over the town. Amidst the sightings, a sense of foreboding took root, as if the Mothman were a harbinger of darker things yet to come. Into this cauldron of fear and speculation stepped John Keel, a journalist and ufologist whose fascination with UFOs and the paranormal had primed him for the mysteries on the fringes of science and folklore. With a resolve to shed light on the enigma of the Mothman sightings, Keel descended upon Point Pleasant. His foray into the town's peculiar atmosphere wasn't merely an investigation, it was an odyssey that wove him into the fabric of Mothman lore. Along this journey, Keel encountered not only the eerie tales of the Mothman, but also a tapestry of strange occurrences and enigmatic figures, including the foreboding Men in Black, marking a chapter in his life where the realms of the known and the unknown intersected. Keel's approach to the investigation was characterized by an open-minded skepticism and a genuine curiosity about the nature of the phenomena. He conducted interviews, collected eyewitness accounts, and pieced together the complex tapestry of events that surrounded the Mothman sightings. As he delved deeper into the mystery, Keel became a central figure in the unfolding narrative, his work eventually culminating in the seminal book, The Mothman Prophecies, which chronicled not just the sightings, but the profound impact they had on the community and the broader questions they posed about the nature of reality itself. The arrival of John Keel in Point Pleasant marked a pivotal moment in the Mothman saga, as his investigative rigor and narrative skill brought a new depth to the unfolding mystery. His journey into the heart of darkness in search of the Mothman would not only challenge his understanding of the paranormal, but also leave an indelible mark on the field of ufology and the cultural imagination at large. The enigma of Point Pleasant extended far beyond the eerie sightings of the Mothman. The town found itself enshrouded in a tapestry of high strangeness, marked not only by encounters with a cryptic winged entity, but also by inexplicable phenomena in the skies and stories of UFOs, suggesting an alien presence. Amidst this tumult of the unexplained, an encounter with a strange being whose demeanor and knowledge defied earthly origins underscored the otherworldly atmosphere pervading Point Pleasant. On a chilly November evening in 1966, Woodrow Derenberger, a salesman, was driving home on Interstate 77 when he encountered something unimaginable. A vehicle that he described as a charcoal-colored craft landed on the road ahead of him, blocking his way. From this craft emerged a man who introduced himself as Indrid Cold. This being, who appeared human but spoke telepathically, conveyed messages of peace and forewarning, leaving Derenberger with a sense of awe. This extraordinary meeting was not an isolated incident. Derenberger would have further communications with Cold, delving deeper into a narrative that intertwined the fates of humans and these mysterious visitors. This backdrop of alien encounters and celestial mysteries set the stage for an even more unsettling development: the emergence of the Men in Black. These sinister figures, dressed in their signature dark suits, seemed to materialize from the shadows, targeting individuals who had witnessed these unexplained events. Their intent was clear, if not their origin: to silence those who had seen too much, to smother the whispers of the unknown with threats that were as veiled as they were chilling. The Men in Black became a pervasive specter in Point Pleasant, their appearances tightly intertwined with the sightings of the Mothman and the mysterious lights above, weaving a narrative that suggested a concerted effort to suppress the truth of what was unfolding. The stage was set for an investigation that would delve into the heart of darkness, an exploration of a town gripped by encounters that challenged the very nature of reality. John Keel's journey was about to intertwine with the secretive efforts of the Men in Black, but the full breadth of his experiences and revelations would unfold as he ventured deeper into the mystery. Immersing himself in the enigmatic atmosphere of Point Pleasant, John Keel encountered stories that seemed ripped from the pages of a novel, each more bewildering than the last. These accounts, factual as per Keel's meticulous documentation, painted a portrait of a town besieged by phenomena that defied explanation. One such narrative involved a local named Mary Hire, a reporter who had been closely following the Mothman sightings. Mary received a visit from a short man, his features odd and unsettling, who spoke in a stilted, unnatural manner. He was obsessively interested in a pen on her desk, eventually taking it with him when he left. This man, presumed to be one of the Men in Black, exemplified the bizarre and often incongruous behavior that seemed to accompany their presence. Another account detailed the experience of a family who, after witnessing a strange light in the sky, were visited by two men dressed in black. These men, who insisted on being given water to drink at a specific time, proceeded to ask questions that suggested a foreknowledge of the family's experience, further deepening the mystery of their origins and intentions. Keel himself was not immune to these odd encounters. He received phone calls at all hours, voices on the other end offering cryptic messages or repeating information he had only thought to himself. These experiences, unsettling as they were, underscored the depth of the high strangeness enveloping Point Pleasant. Keel's investigation into these narratives revealed a complex web of experiences that spanned the spectrum of the paranormal. From UFOs to the Mothman, From the men in black to inexplicable phone calls and encounters, the events in Point Pleasant defied simple categorization. Keel's work, characterized by a dedication to uncovering the truth behind these tales, offered a glimpse into a reality where the line between the natural and the supernatural was not just blurred, but non-existent. Keel's skepticism of conventional explanations for these phenomena was a hallmark of his investigation. Rather than dismissing the high strangeness of Point Pleasant as mere fantasy or delusion, Keel embraced the complexity and ambiguity of the situation. His approach was not to force the square peg of the paranormal into the round hole of known science, but to expand the scope of inquiry to consider possibilities beyond the current understanding of reality. Through his meticulous collection of data and personal narratives, Keel constructed a multifaceted view of the events in Point Pleasant, one that acknowledged the Mothman, UFOs, and the Men in Black not as isolated anomalies, but as interconnected facets of a larger, more profound mystery. His work in Point Pleasant, characterized by an unwavering commitment to unveiling the truth, however strange it may be, remains a seminal exploration into the depths of the unknown, challenging us to consider the vastness of the universe and the potential for realities beyond our own. Through his narrative, Keel invited us to consider the possibility of a world far more mysterious and interconnected than we might dare to imagine. His stories, rooted in the factual accounts of those who experienced the phenomena firsthand, stand as a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown, challenging us to question the very nature of reality itself. Amidst the swirling vortex of mysteries surrounding Point Pleasant, John Keel encountered an enigmatic group known as the International Bankers. These mysterious correspondents first made their presence felt through a series of unnerving letters that carried an air of threat and foreboding. These communications marked the beginning of a complex narrative thread that would intertwine with the Mothman phenomenon, adding layers of intrigue and speculation to Keel's investigation. As Keel navigated through the myriad sightings and strange occurrences, he was beset by a barrage of cryptic phone calls, some of which contained prophecies that veered into the realm of the uncanny. One such prophecy foretold the assassination of the Pope, a startling claim that, although it did not materialize as described, underscored the perplexing nature of the information being relayed to him. These calls, attributed to the shadowy figures known as the International Bankers, suggested a depth of knowledge and an intent to manipulate or misdirect Keel's focus. In tandem with the dire warnings and cryptic messages, Keel was confronted with a prophecy predicting a significant blackout that would engulf New York City. This prediction, delivered with a sense of inevitability, seemed to steer Keel's attention toward a looming disaster, one that suggested a breakdown of the societal order and a challenge to the infrastructure of the modern world. However, as Keel was drawn into the anticipation of these forewarned events, a real and tragic disaster unfolded in Point Pleasant. The Silver Bridge, a vital artery connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during rush hour on December 15, 1967, plunging vehicles and their occupants into the icy waters of the Ohio River. This catastrophic event, resulting in the loss of 46 lives, came to be seen as a grim fulfillment of the forebodings that had haunted the town. While not the disaster Keel had been led to expect, the bridge collapse seemed to echo the sinister undertones of the warnings he had received, suggesting a connection to the dire premonitions communicated by the International Bankers and the Men in Black. Keel now realized that the mysterious phone calls, the letters from the International Bankers, and the warnings from the Men in Black might all be facets of the same overarching phenomenon, suggesting a deliberate campaign of misinformation and manipulation. These entities, operating from the shadows, appeared to orchestrate a narrative designed to distract, mislead, and sow confusion. This tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge and the preceding prophecies served to deepen the mystery surrounding Point Pleasant and the entities with whom Keel was in contact. It appeared that Keel, along with the town of Point Pleasant, was ensnared in a complex game orchestrated by forces that remained shrouded in shadow and mystery. In the aftermath of the bridge collapse and the haunting events that preceded it, the story of Point Pleasant, became a complex tapestry of high strangeness. The threatening communications from the international bankers, the eerie prophecies, the enigmatic men in black, and the tragic real-world consequences intertwined to create a narrative that challenges our understanding of reality. John Keel's investigation into these events invites speculation about the interconnectedness of these phenomena, suggesting that the mysteries of Point Pleasant may be the manifestation of a singular, enigmatic influence, a shadow play that continues to captivate and mystify. In the quiet aftermath of the Silver Bridge collapse, the air in Point Pleasant was thick with speculation and the weight of unanswered questions. Among the theories that emerged, one particularly intriguing idea was the potential involvement of the men in black, those foreboding figures who seemed intertwined with the town's misfortunes. This theory invites exploration into a broader universal concept that transcends cultural and mythological boundaries, the trickster archetype. This archetype embodies a paradoxical nature, both creator and destroyer, a figure of chaos and transformation, known across many cultures from the Native American coyote to the Norse god Loki. Carl Jung, a pioneer in exploring the depths of the human psyche, identified the trickster as an archetype arising from the collective unconscious, representing the aspects of our psyche that defy the constraints of societal norms and rationality. This archetype, Jung suggested, acts as a catalyst for change, challenging our perceptions and beliefs. In the fabric of Point Pleasant's narrative, the Mothman and the Men in Black could be seen as contemporary manifestations of this ancient archetype, agents of upheaval that drove the community to confront its deepest fears and uncertainties. However, considering the trickster not solely as a psychological archetype, but as a potential real force in the world, introduces a fascinating dimension to the discussion. This perspective suggests that trickster energy might exist independently of the human psyche, a tangible influence that interacts with and shapes our reality. The Mothman, with its foreboding presence, and the Men in Black, with their cryptic interventions, could then be interpreted as manifestations of this trickster energy, embodying its role as a harbinger of change and reflection. This interpretation allows for a dual understanding of these entities, as reflections of our innermost fears and desires, and as independent forces that disrupt the status quo and challenge our understanding of the world. The events in Point Pleasant, under this light, can be seen not just as a series of unexplained phenomena, but as interactions with a fundamental force of nature that compels us to question the very fabric of reality. Viewed through this lens, the narrative of Point Pleasant evolves into a complex interplay between human consciousness and an external trickster energy, each influencing the other in a dynamic relationship. This approach enriches the analysis of the events surrounding the Mothman and the Men in Black, offering a multi-dimensional perspective that bridges Jungian psychology and the possibility of an autonomous, chaotic force at work in the world. It underscores the trickster's enduring significance, not only as a symbol of the unconscious forces that drive human behavior and cultural narratives, but also as a potential real-world influence, highlighting humanity's ongoing struggle to navigate the ineffable and to find meaning amidst the chaos of existence. As the curtain falls on the eerie tableau of Point Pleasant and the chilling narratives of Albert Bender and Harold Dahl, a new chapter in the annals of the unexplained begins to unfold. These foundational tales of close encounters, not with extraterrestrials, but with the enigmatic Men in Black, serve as the bedrock upon which a modern mythology is built. It was the publication of The Mothman Prophecies by John Keel, alongside Gray Barker's haunting retellings of Men in Black accounts, including the profound impact of Bender's experience, that propelled the Men in Black from the shadowy fringes of ufology into the glaring spotlight of mainstream culture. In the wake of these seminal works, the 1970s and 80s became a fertile ground for the proliferation of Men in Black encounters, each story adding layers to the growing legend. Among these, the experience of Dr. Herbert Hopkins in 1976 stands as a chilling exemplar of the era's encounters. Dr. Hopkins, then a respected physician and hypnotist living in Maine, had been delving into a UFO case involving a possible abduction. One evening, as the autumn chill began to seep into the bones of his quiet home, Hopkins received a phone call that would mark the beginning of one of the most unsettling episodes of his life. The caller identified himself as a representative of a New Jersey-based UFO organization, expressing an eagerness to discuss the details of the case Hopkins was investigating. Agreeing to a meeting, Hopkins thought little of the request. It was, after all, not uncommon for researchers to share findings in the tight-knit community of ufology. However, what transpired next veered sharply into the realm of the uncanny. Mere moments after hanging up the phone, a knock echoed through the Hopkins household. Approaching the door with a sense of bewilderment, Hopkins was greeted by the sight of a man dressed in a stark black suit, a visage that would become hauntingly familiar to those who tread too close to the mysteries of the unknown. The speed with which this visitor had arrived was physically impossible, given the timing of the phone call. It was as if the man had materialized out of thin air, standing on Hopkins's doorstep with an air of urgency that belied his calm demeanor. This man was not like any other. His appearance was profoundly disturbing. Pale to the point of appearing almost translucent, his hair and eyebrows conspicuously absent, lending him an almost ethereal quality. His lips were a stark contrast, vivid red against his pallid skin. It was his eyes, though, that held Hopkins in a paralytic grip of fear, deeply set and possessing an intensity that seemed almost otherworldly. The conversation that ensued was no less strange. The visitor asked detailed questions about the UFO case, but his interest seemed perfunctory, as if the questions were a mere pretext for his visit. Then, with a suddenness that startled Hopkins, the man's demeanor shifted. He advised Hopkins to destroy any evidence he had related to the UFO case. His instructions were specific. Hopkins was to erase tapes of hypnosis sessions he had conducted with the abductee and to dispose of any and all documentation. As the man spoke, his voice seemed devoid of emotion, yet imbued with an authority that compelled obedience. Before departing as mysteriously as he had arrived, the visitor performed a demonstration of his seemingly supernatural abilities, erasing a coin from existence right before Hopkins's eyes, hinting at powers beyond the understanding of mere mortals. This act served not only as a warning, but as a clear demonstration of the visitor's control over reality itself. Shaken to his core, Hopkins complied with the demands, erasing tapes and destroying documents, the weight of the encounter pressing down on him like a physical force. In the days that followed, Hopkins wrestled with the implications of his meeting, the visit leaving him with more questions than answers. Who was this man? How had he arrived so quickly? And perhaps most disturbingly, what was the true nature of the power he wielded? This case, emblematic of the encounters that peppered the 1970s and 80s, highlights a pattern of intimidation and mystery that has come to define interactions with the men in black. From silent phone calls to faceless threats, the stories from this period weave a complex narrative of surveillance and silence enforced by visitors whose origins and intentions remain shrouded in darkness. As the Men in Black mythology expanded, so too did its influence, captivating a public both terrified and fascinated by the prospect of government conspiracies and alien agendas. Each account, whether whispered in fear or declared from the rooftops, contributed to a tapestry of intrigue that transcends the mere phenomenon of UFO sightings to touch on deeper, more existential fears. In this act of our unfolding narrative, the Men in Black emerge not just as agents of deception, but as manifestations of a deeply ingrained cultural and psychological drama. They are the shadowy figures at the edge of our collective consciousness, the harbingers of a reality that we are only just beginning to comprehend. Through the veil of these encounters, humanity confronts its own limitations, the vast expanse of the unknown, and the ever-present question of what lies beyond the thin veneer of our understanding. Thus, the story of the Men in Black, enriched by the accounts of the 70s and 80s, continues to evolve, a living myth that reflects our deepest anxieties and our eternal quest for truth in a world that is stranger than we can imagine. In recent decades, the mythology of the Men in Black has evolved, morphing into a complex tapestry that spans the gamut of ufology and paranormal lore. The journey of the MIB phenomenon, from its inception to its modern iteration, is a story of transformation, one that mirrors the changing landscape of American society and its relationship with the unknown. Well into the 1980s, the Men in Black were primarily viewed as ominous enforcers, shadowy figures emerging from the depths of secrecy to silence those who dared to delve too deeply into the mysteries of UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Their portrayal was steeped in the Cold War era's atmosphere of suspicion and paranoia, reflecting a society grappling with the fear of the unknown and the unseen forces that seemed to operate just beyond the reach of understanding. However, as the decades passed, the cultural portrayal of the Men in Black underwent a significant shift. No longer were they merely seen as sinister agents of suppression. Instead, they began to be conceptualized as potential interdimensional beings, entities that transcended the traditional boundaries of time and space. This evolution was fueled in part by the expanding frontiers of science fiction and quantum physics, which introduced the public to the tantalizing possibility of multiple dimensions and realities coexisting with our own. The influence of popular media cannot be overstated in shaping the modern perception of the Men in Black. The 1997 release of the film Men in Black, starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, catapulted the MIB from the shadowy corners of ufology into the glaring spotlight of mainstream pop culture. The film, with its blend of humor and action, offered a fresh take on the MIB lore, portraying them as protectors of Earth from extraterrestrial threats, rather than as harbingers of silence and fear. This depiction, while a departure from earlier narratives, introduced the MIB to a new generation, embedding them firmly in the cultural zeitgeist. Conspiracy theories, too, have played a pivotal role in the evolution of the Men in Black mythos. With the advent of the internet, tales of encounters with the MIB spread like wildfire, each story adding a layer to the growing legend. Forums and social media platforms became the new campfires around which stories of mysterious visits and warnings were shared, each account blurring the lines between fact and fiction, reality and imagination. Real-life encounters with individuals claiming to have been visited by the Men in Black have continued to fuel the fire of speculation and intrigue. These encounters, often recounted with a mix of fear and fascination, serve as a reminder of the enduring allure of the MIB phenomenon. They speak to a deep-seated human desire to believe in something greater, something beyond the mundane reality of our existence. As the myth of the Men in Black continues to evolve, it remains a mirror reflecting our collective anxieties, hopes, and the eternal quest for understanding in a world brimming with mysteries yet to be unraveled. The Men in Black stand at the crossroads of fear and fascination, a symbol of the endless human journey into the unknown. Reaching into the new millennium, Men in Black mythology has embraced a host of new faces and fresh encounters, further entrenching itself in the cultural consciousness of the UFO and paranormal communities. One notable incident that underscored the enduring relevance of the Men in Black in contemporary times involved Dan Aykroyd, the actor, comedian, and avowed UFO enthusiast. In 2002, amidst the bustling backdrop of New York City's Rockefeller Center, a peculiar and unsettling event unfolded that would add a modern twist to the MIB narrative. Aykroyd, at the time engaged in the production of a UFO documentary series titled Out There, experienced firsthand the ominous presence often associated with the Men in Black. While on a break, Aykroyd stepped outside, only to notice a black Ford sedan parked nearby. From this seemingly innocuous vehicle emerged a tall figure, clad in the quintessential black suit that has become synonymous with these mysterious agents. The man fixed Aykroyd with a glare that carried an unspoken threat, a silent command that brooked no argument. Moments later, the sedan and the man vanished as suddenly as they had appeared. Upon returning indoors, Aykroyd was met with news as bewildering as the encounter itself. The UFO show he had been passionately working on was abruptly cancelled. No explanations were offered, just a directive to cease all filming activities immediately. This incident, while lacking the direct verbal confrontation often reported in classic MIB encounters, carried all the hallmarks of their modus operandi: intimidation, a demand for silence, and an inscrutable but unmistakable threat. The Ackroyd incident is emblematic of how the portrayal and perceived activities of the Men in Black have adapted to fit modern contexts. The digital age, with its proliferation of information and connectivity, has not diminished their presence. Instead, it has provided a new arena for their enigmatic interventions. Tales of encounters now spread with viral efficiency across the internet, with forums, blogs, and social media acting as the new gathering spots for those seeking to share their experiences or to find solace in the shared experiences of others. Contemporary encounters with the Men in Black continue to be characterized by common themes and patterns that hark back to their earliest manifestations. Intimidation tactics remain a staple of their interactions, often coupled with explicit or implied threats aimed at silencing those who might reveal too much. Attempts to suppress information, whether through direct confrontation or more subtle means, underscore the persistent belief in a larger agenda at play, one that seeks to keep humanity in the dark about the true nature of the phenomena we continue to encounter. As we navigate deeper into the enigma that is the Men in Black, emerging theories and new perspectives begin to illuminate the shadows of this enduring phenomenon. The evolution of the MIB narrative is not just a testament to the elasticity of folklore, but also reflects the profound impact of scientific and technological advancements on our understanding of the paranormal. In recent years, the intersection of ufology, psychology, and the outer reaches of fringe science has birthed a plethora of theories that seek to decode the essence of the Men in Black. No longer are they merely viewed as sinister government agents or alien overseers. Contemporary discourse entertains the possibility that the MIB might be manifestations of a collective unconscious, psychic projections born from the depths of human anxiety regarding the unknown. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow self, representing the aspects of our personality we deny or ignore, parallels the mysterious nature of the Men in Black, suggesting that they may be more emblematic than corporeal. Technological advancements, particularly in the realms of quantum physics and digital communication, have also reshaped the conversation around the Men in Black. Theories abound that the MIB could be travelers from alternate realities or dimensions, a concept bolstered by the strange, often anachronistic technologies they are reported to wield. The digital age has further complicated the narrative, with some theorists positing that the Men in Black are adept at utilizing the internet and social media to monitor and manipulate those who venture too close to the truth about UFOs and extraterrestrial life. One notable example that underscores the fusion of technology and paranormal inquiry is the account of Gary McKinnon, whose story intertwines the digital world with the shadowy fringes traditionally occupied by the Men in Black. McKinnon, a Scottish systems administrator with a keen interest in ufology, embarked on a solitary crusade to unearth classified information he believed the US government was hiding about extraterrestrial life and advanced energy technology. His quest led him to commit what was described as the biggest military computer hack of all time between 2001 and 2002. Operating from his bedroom in London, McKinnon utilized his hacking skills to infiltrate 97 US military and NASA computers. He was driven by a conviction that these institutions were concealing breakthrough technologies derived from extraterrestrial sources, technologies that could revolutionize energy production and thus the world. During his cyber explorations, McKinnon uncovered files that hinted at what he believed was undeniable proof of UFO technology and the existence of non-terrestrial officers, terms that suggested a secret space program far beyond public knowledge. However, McKinnon's digital foray did not go unnoticed. The US government, perceiving a significant breach of national security, launched an extensive investigation to identify and apprehend the intruder. McKinnon had become the digital embodiment of the very phenomenon he sought to expose, a shadow moving through the networks of the most powerful military on Earth, uncovering secrets meant to remain in the dark. The pursuit of McKinnon by the US authorities mirrored the ominous visits and silent threats associated with the Men in Black, but with a modern twist. Rather than faceless agents appearing at his door, McKinnon found himself the target of an international legal battle, with the United States seeking his extradition on charges that could result in up to 70 years in prison. The UK ultimately denied the extradition request, citing human rights concerns due to McKinnon's diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome and the potential for inhumane treatment in the US penal system. The McKinnon saga serves as a contemporary analogue to the classic Men in Black narrative, highlighting how the battleground for information and secrecy has shifted from physical confrontations to the digital realm. Just as the Men in Black were said to emerge from the shadows to silence those who got too close to the truth about UFOs, the US government's response to McKinnon's hacking activities represents a powerful entity's efforts to control sensitive information and deter others from similar endeavors through the specter of legal action and severe penalties. Moreover, the advent of smartphones and the ubiquity of surveillance technology have introduced a new layer to Men in Black encounters. Witnesses now report being approached by individuals who possess intimate knowledge of private conversations and encrypted communications, suggesting a level of technological prowess that blurs the line between the human and the otherworldly. The discourse surrounding the Men in Black thus stands at a crossroads, where folklore meets cutting-edge science and psychological theory intersects with the limitless possibilities of the multiverse. This confluence of ideas has not only expanded the scope of MIB encounters, but has also challenged us to reconsider the nature of reality itself. In the modern age, the Men in Black emerge not just as keepers of cosmic secrets, but as symbols of our collective quest to understand a universe that remains tantalizingly out of reach. As the shadow of the Men in Black stretched into the nascent glow of the digital age, the internet became a crucible for communities bound by a fascination with UFOs and the paranormal. This new digital frontier offered unprecedented opportunities for individuals around the globe to converge in their quest for the truth, or at least for understanding. Forums, social media platforms, and dedicated websites emerged as virtual campfires around which enthusiasts, skeptics, and witnesses alike could gather to share their encounters with the enigmatic Men in Black. Online platforms have significantly facilitated the dissemination of experiences and theories regarding the Men in Black, allowing for a rich tapestry of narratives that span continents and decades. These accounts, varying widely in detail and context, paint a vivid picture of encounters with these mysterious figures, whose motivations and origins remain as obscured as ever. The digital realm has, in many ways, democratized the study of the Men in Black, giving voice to those who might otherwise have remained silent for fear of ridicule or disbelief. Yet, this digitization of the discourse brings with it a unique set of challenges, particularly the difficulty of sifting through the morass of information to discern fact from fiction. The anonymity afforded by the internet can be a double-edged sword, allowing for the free exchange of ideas, but also permitting misinformation and hoaxes to proliferate unchecked. Navigating these online spaces requires a critical eye and a healthy dose of skepticism, as the line between reality and fabrication can often be perilously thin. As we move further into the 21st century, the legacy of the Men in Black within popular culture and the collective consciousness continues to evolve. Their presence in films, television shows, and literature speaks to a continued, if not growing, fascination with these figures and what they represent about our place in the universe. This enduring interest in the Men in Black phenomenon not only reflects a cultural obsession with the unknown, but also underscores a deeper existential inquiry into the nature of reality itself and the potential for otherness within our own or parallel worlds. The questions that linger about the future of ufology and the quest to uncover the truths behind the Men in Black are as numerous as the stars in the night sky. Will advancements in technology and the continued expansion of digital networks lead to a greater understanding of these shadowy figures? Or will they only deepen the mystery? How will the narratives change as new generations bring their perspectives to bear on the phenomenon? And perhaps most importantly, what does our enduring fascination with the Men in Black reveal about our collective psyche and our insatiable hunger for stories that blur the lines between the known and the unknowable. In the final analysis, the Men in Black remain an indelible part of our cultural and paranormal landscape, a symbol of the eternal human struggle to comprehend the incomprehensible. As we peer into the darkness seeking answers, we must also confront the possibility that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved, forever lurking in the shadows, just beyond the reach of our understanding. As we edge closer to the shadows that stretch just beyond the light of our known world, the enigma of the Men in Black looms larger, a puzzle wrapped in the mist of the unexplained. The journey thus far has taken us through whispered accounts and fleeting encounters, each story peeling back a layer of the profound mystery that surrounds these figures. Now, we stand on the brink of a deeper exploration, venturing into the realm of esoteric theories that push the boundaries of what we accept as reality and consciousness. The notion of the Men in Black as mere earthly agents or secretive government operatives begins to fray at the edges when considered against the backdrop of interdimensional travel. These beings, some theorists propose, are not bound by the limitations of our physical universe. Instead, they are travelers from beyond, from realms that exist parallel to our own or in dimensions we cannot fathom with our current understanding of the cosmos. The Men in Black, as described by those who have purportedly encountered them, exhibit characteristics and abilities such as instantaneous travel, foreknowledge of events, and the capacity to erase or alter memories that align more closely with interdimensional travelers or time manipulators than with any known terrestrial agency. These visitors could exist in higher dimensions where our reality can be rewritten and manipulated through synchronicity and temporal manipulation, explaining their seemingly instantaneous travel and ability to manipulate world events. This leads us to the concept of tulpas and psychic projections, a fascinating intersection where psychology and the paranormal collide. Could the Men in Black be manifestations of our collective consciousness, created by the very power of human belief and thought? This idea finds echoes in phenomena like poltergeists and other thought forms, which are said to arise from intense emotional or mental energy. The Men in Black, then, could be the shadowy byproduct of our collective fears and fascinations with the unknown, given form and purpose by our subconscious. As the stories of these ominous beings spread, their power grows, creating a feedback loop that allows mythology to become reality. Pushing the boundaries even further, we entertain the possibility that the Men in Black exist beyond the constraints of time and space as we understand them. They could be the agents of a civilization from our distant future, or from a past far more advanced than our history books admit, tasked with guiding, observing, or even manipulating the course of human events to suit an agenda that remains frustratingly opaque. This explanation might explain foreknowledge of future events as well as encounters in which these beings seem in awe of our 21st century environment. It might also explain why these characters appear essentially humanoid, but evolved into an uncanny version of humanity. Navigating the shadows that the Men in Black inhabit invites us to reconsider not just the nature of these encounters, but the very fabric of reality itself. It challenges us to question the linear progression of time, the solidity of space, and the notion that what we see and touch is all there is. As we explore these esoteric theories, we are compelled to reflect on the role that perception and belief play in shaping our reality and the entities that dart in and out of it. In contemplating the profound mysteries of the Men in Black, we are invited to consider a universe brimming with endless possibilities, where the answers to our questions lie just beyond the veil of our understanding. It is here, in the high strangeness of their presence, that the legacy of the Men in Black endures, a constant reminder that the world is far more mysterious and complex than we could ever imagine. And so, as we draw the curtain on this exploration, we are left with more questions than answers, a testament to the enduring allure of the Men in Black. Their legacy, woven through the fabric of pop culture and whispered in tales of the night, remains a beacon for those who seek to understand the unexplainable. In the eerie silence that follows their departure, we find the space to dream, to wonder, and to gaze into the darkness, searching for the light of truth in a world filled with shadows.